There's a lot of self-made people in the world. Some people didn't make it themselves. They got it and they're good stewards of it and they're successful. That's cool. But some people made it out of nothing. They tend to appreciate the courage of the youth, of people that will actually approach them and take the shot. And they get a sense of almost like, I'm gonna help this person out. I'm gonna give them a chance. I have seen that, and I've experienced that.
Welcome to the Lion's Edge, where top performers sharpen their teeth. Hosted by Joe Blackburn, founder of The Lion, who is relentlessly dedicated to helping business owners lead multi-million-dollar teams. And me, Jason Croft. I transform unseen entrepreneurs into industry leaders by developing their market gravity. Each week, we reveal proven strategies and raw insights to help you maximize your business, multiply your wealth, and make your family indestructible. Now, let's create your edge. Let's see folks on the line, folks watching this show who have a business. Maybe it's the thought experiment aspect of it to go, if I was starting my business over today, what would I do differently? What would I make sure I never did that I'm dealing with right now? And how would I optimize this? And then back up from that and go, okay, well, I don't have to burn it down and start something new. What can I do that I would have done if I was starting over today?
One of the trends I see online, and I know how the YouTubers, so like they look at the top 25, whatever, and see what's trending, blah, 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 and then jump on and make a video or whatever. And I hear this one quite a bit, is sell to the rich. Like, it's pretty broad. It's like, solve problems for rich people. They're better. I mean, this is not revolutionary.
Right.
You know, I will tell you this. We have a couple schools that are, I mean, you have to define rich first of all, but we have some schools that are for some people that aren't as far along, have less capital, more upside, so forth, you know, like Assassins or things like that. And I will say this, I found myself at the end of the year having some renewal conversations or some people that have been introduced. And, you know, I'm on a call between Christmas and New Year's with someone who's debating $9,800 in their mind. You know, what you have to take away from that is you have the same call with someone if they're debating $79,000 or $50,000 or $120,000. So mechanically, for you as a founder or the chief marketeer or someone that has the responsibility of bringing in clients, and we all do, I think the sooner you realize that the faster you move up market, the better your life becomes, because humans are humans. Problem sets are a little different, but from your standpoint, whatever SOP you build or process, or your ability to get people to know, like, trust, and pay you is essentially mechanically the same. So in the beginning, your thought process is, well, I can do this one because it's easier. If you're talking to someone where, let's say $10,000 is a big deal, because it is, it's not like in their head or not real. It's like a big deal. It's harder to get them to commit to do something because of scarcity. And like, that's 10 grand's like a lot. Whereas if you can solve a problem for someone where, you know, $50,000, $100,000, $30,000, you name the dollar amount in your world, that's just part of business. Like, that's capital allocation, or they have an enormous amount of money and you can generally solve their problem. Your life's better because they're not as concerned, especially when things aren't going well, because it's just proportionately different to their overall capital. So it's not rocket science, but if I were starting over, let's say I was ground zero, I would go bigger, faster. Let's say confidence is the barrier. I don't know, I'm imposter syndrome, whatever bullshit I see out there. It takes on average about 30 reps to get confidence in something. Now that was online, so I could have made that up. We don't know. But let's say I mean, really.
It's official.
I mean,
You
it's
said it.
online,
So
so it means it's true and data backed. So those two things, truth
exactly.
and the numbers are there. But the reality is, if you have the solution and you can provide it, then you might, and it's mechanically the same. I mean, this goes back to the old ratchet and pillars. Ratchet up. The faster you can ratchet up, the better your life becomes. And as smart and as good looking and as talented as I am, I sometimes get wrapped up in just making things happen. And I find myself mechanically doing someone a favor by even talking to them because that's how good I am. But I'm, I catch my, like, okay, wait a minute. This is not where you spend your time. So what you have to get disciplined around is that floor and that where you think your ceiling is, and continually raise your ceiling, raise this. So if I were starting new, I would figure out a way to, as fast as humanly possible, get elevated so that my output has more dollars behind it. And I'm dealing with people that actually, you know, every dollar they give me isn't the last dollar they have. So, because what happens, and this is probably true of all businesses, like, we saw this in one of our luxury industries. One of their key clients had a tough year, like their key client demographic. So I don't know if anyone knows this, but agriculture wasn't what it was 2 years ago. So a lot of that money didn't come like we thought. They still had now the business still did very well, but it's like the key demographic took a hit. Well, if your key demographic is low and that takes a hit, which I think is happening in America, now you're in real trouble because average spend then is below your talent level and below what they used to. So, like, do you see that? So I would say try to figure out ways. I don't this and I hope you don't publish this or whatever you do. What do you do with a podcast? You put it somewhere.
We mail it to people.
You mail this
We print it
in
out.
a floppy.
Yeah.
It is kind of cliche, but the reality is if you want to have a luxury lifestyle, you have to deliver to the people that value some luxury. It may not be oxygen. Because, I mean, think of it this way, like, if what I do is something people can't live without, let's just say that. Toilet paper. Use that as an example. There's an empire built on it, but I can't tell you the difference between them. I don't know. It's that. So when I do something like that, I become commoditized. So I have a different business model at scale. I have to deliver in my margins, blah, blah, blah. But if you're in like professional services or you're a HVAC plumber, somebody that has a highly, needed skill that takes money versus just stamping things out, you do want to move up market because price at some point isn't the major issue. It's probably more convenience, get my problem solved. Like, I was having a conversation with one of our clients the other day, and we're talking about price increase because anything, above the line. So if I take a 1% increase in revenue and reduce cost of goods by 1%, I move the decimal below the line in net revenue, like that math. So you don't have to have a large jump. But what they were trying to figure out is like, yeah, but we do all these onesies at this price and those people need heat. But then price becomes the major factor. So can I do it for a client that wants a heated floor? That's different, correct?
You're on target. And I think a couple of things, again, back where you started with this, people say it a lot and it's true. Yes, do this, move up market as quickly as possible. Two things there that come to mind. You don't have to make the jump all the way up to, oh, I only work with billionaires, when the day you start, like, but make that progression. And then besides confidence, and that's certainly a piece of it, it's definitely a head game for all of us, right? We're human. So that plays into it, but also focusing on what you charge so much that's where you're brain goes, and that's what destroys your confidence. You're so worried about this number instead of making your main focus the solution you're providing.
Well, I think what you can also look for is I would describe it as a sweet spot, meaning it's not so far down here that they don't have the resources to do what you're offering. And it's not so far over here that they just don't need it, or probably more likely don't believe they need it because of accomplishment. So it's like baby bear's porridge in the middle. Where can I provide an enormous amount of value to this person who has capital, the will, and the desire, and feels enough pain to make a change versus I want to do it, I can't, or I don't need anything because I've made it like that. I call it the sweet spot. So that when I look back over the last 5 years or so of what we've been doing, I believe I've found a pretty good one where we can provide a tremendous amount of value mechanically. It doesn't, burden us. We're not going in and consulting a Fortune 100 company where we need a huge team and data and all those things, but it's more of, at that level of business, it's so founder centric. We've got to get them to be maximized in what their output can be, and then have the will to give up some of the control. Because that's everybody says lack of talent, by the way, because that kind of gets thrown out there a lot. I don't have the right people. I don't have the right people. What I actually find is you haven't given those people the right chance yet. Find out first. Now, you may have somebody, and there's no shortage of people being told this isn't the right place for you in the Lion. We have that conversation a lot. But I think it's also you assume they can't or they won't, but they really never had a shot. So that type of, transition from I do everything to I do some things to I do nothing. Yeah, everybody wants to be here, correct? You'd be bored to death, but let's just say, let's pretend you want to have the autonomy to do nothing, but really finding that it's kind of that time when, okay, I know I have to give up some things. I want to go up, and I've got enough capital to put into my business or myself or my team, whomever it is, that's where you, as the business owner, and you name your business, find that sweet spot where you can plug in, get into your, gusher and really make a difference, whether it's, the jewelry their spouse wears, the financial services, the house or the new commercial building. You name it, look for a sweet spot, because you can, with the guru advice, you can just keep going up and up and up and up and up. But that's if you want to. You might be able to find, I believe what we've done is we've found a spot where this is the person we can help the most and do the most. That's so think of it, who can I help the most, make the most, do the most, that it's they're getting what they need, we get what we need, everybody wins type of thing. So looking around is your sweet spot. And I have a good friend that is transitioning and doing some different things, and he had a track where he worked for the number one financial service provider in the world, number one. And what was interesting was that organization or team had a target that they did this, and they could have done a bunch of other things, but this is what we do. Meaning we provide this. You want bonds, you go somewhere else. You want hedge funds, you go somewhere else. This is what we do. And that's how they became the biggest and the best. They found their sweet spot and refused to do the other things and outgrew everybody, which is interesting, because the hard thing becomes when you're endowed with great ability, the fallacy that I can do it all. You probably could, but why don't you find the thing that you really, I swear, if I say gusher one more time, it's kind of but find that thing, find it. Like, what can you just do over and over and teach and build upon? And it starts with, you got to identify the sweet spot. So you may start down here trying to go here, and you may find it here, and then you can replicate faster. So I've spent some time trying to figure out, again, most for the most.
And then it becomes, how do I demonstrate that I can provide this solution to this target market as quickly as possible and get that out there?
Yeah. Well, and if you get one, you can replicate there. That's called pillars. So, let's say you
Exactly.
had 25 people that you hit home runs with. These people got amazing results. I had a blast doing it. We made an enormous amount of money together. Replicate that.
Yeah, and that's the piece too, to pay attention to. What are those markers that as you go up market, people look for? Well, as you go up, as we've talked about a million times, it is that word of mouth. Who can I talk to? Who can I see? Oh, they're like me. They had a conversation, but also be purposeful with that stuff. Make sure you find out. Talk about the mechanics that are the same for this client or this one. Dig into to those mechanics. Dig into what are you actually solving for this person, and get to something that, yes, they really want, but also get specific. The higher up market, get more specific. I solve this one thing for you that is the one bottleneck, because that's what we see at the bottom of the market too is, hey, I've got X amount of dollars, fix my business. Well,
Okay.
what do we need? Right. Instead of everything's flowing, I can't get talent acquisition nailed down. I need help with that specifically when you're up market and you provide that value, because that's the unlock that my business needs to 5x over the next 2 years. Focusing on those things too as you go up market really helps as well.
And when you think of it that way, it's more of, I want less irritation. Like finding a good person because I have to do it irritates me. So I'm finding myself doing the things I shouldn't be doing because I can't find the right people. I can't attract the right talent or whatever it is mostly born out of, it irritates me to the fact that I have to go do something that, especially if I view myself highly, that is beneath me. I shouldn't have to be doing this. I just can't find the right person to do it. So yeah, you can, Tyler Bloom, he's building his empire around finding the right people to manage a golf course or to run the course as a GM or whatever it is. Well, so if you're, let's put it this way. If you're the person that's been crowned the hiring and get this person placed, you've got all the employees, the board, and all the members looking at you like, where is this person? Like where, grass doesn't look right. Greens are shitty, whatever. So you want to, when you can deliver to them, they're willing to pay a premium to get the right person to take the irritation away, which is, that's kind of the paradigm of life, right? Like I do hard things so that I can not have to do hard things all the time, like that kind of thing. But, it's interesting on the pricing aspect from a consumer standpoint. And I'm somewhat of a consumer. I don't really care about price. I just don't want to be bothered. So as you go up there, think about the target client, the decisions and things you're dealing with on a day-to-day basis, when you get little things that have to be done or that need to be done or that you would enjoy, you don't want to have to worry about, like you're trying to alleviate yourself. So if you can provide that alleviation of, what's beneath you or irritating, like in the contracting world, and I probably mentioned this and I totally stole this. I think it was from like a short on Facebook or YouTube or one of those, where they were telling some of these service providers, raise your price 20% and then guarantee on time on price and see what, because the person who has no money, that isn't going to play well. But the person that does, you mean you're going to not come back to me and blindside me with a bunch of new material, added costs, and you're going to be out of my house way sooner. So I don't have to come home with a tarp laying over the front door, whatever that.
Right. And actually, when you said you were going to be done, you'll be done.
So if I price here, let's say this for even numbers, $1,000, and I could charge $1,200 for that and on time, on price, guarantee it. if I don't do the increase and the guarantee, I'm still getting the $1,000. So I'm no worse off as the owner than I was when I gave that guarantee. Plus, this might be interesting. You'll probably, your crews at least, or your people, you'll probably do better work and be more cost effective on all those other things. So not only do you get an increase in revenue, you get better. It's an interesting little twist. Like I like it. And we've got some clients deploying it, and I have a client that we baited it with, and they had a freaking unbelievable year. Now, it wasn't all due to that, but it played into it.
A good buddy of mine, John Logar, talks about this aspect of being resourced, right? Charge more money so that you can be resourced to provide that better crew, guarantee those things. And so you're really doing that honestly, as a service to your end client. So if you're fully resourced, then you can actually do what you're promising and do it better than somebody in there charging, $250 in that scenario.
Well, you get what you pay for in most cases, right? Like, I mean, you buy gym equipment. What's the saying? Buy nice, don't buy twice. Let's just say we're looking at the next 3 years, like 36 months. I think we've beat this horse almost to death. Price higher, go up market. Your good friend ChatGPT, like we were talking about, said you can't use it for sales leadership and culture. I'd probably invest in that somehow, because it's hard to commoditize. But I do think there is something, and I've seen it. If I can mechanically deliver to a higher demographic, I should, or maybe I must. That's where I'm going with it. And like the old fortune teller said, everybody's pretty much the same. They've got fears, they've got wants, they've got loss. So whether you have $1 billion or 100 million or 1 million, people are pretty much the same. And we had this conversation. It was in our Assassins the other day, which is that kind of group that's battling this. There's a lot of self-made people in the world. Some people didn't make it themselves. They got it and they're good stewards of it and they're successful. That's cool. But some people, made it out of nothing. They tend to, my experience has been, appreciate the courage of the youth, of people that will actually do and approach them and take the shot. I think they get a sense of, almost like, I'm gonna help this person out. I'm gonna give him a chance. I have seen that, and I've experienced that. It's funny. I live down here in the Gulf of America, and there's a company. I was reading this the other day. It was interesting because I knew who they were. They started in 1985 with $500, and this place was frowned upon, to say the least. Like, this is a dump, South Alabama or whatever. That they have more than $500 now. They're building 30-story, resorts. And there's 3 good old boys from, I think, Saraland, Alabama. But my point to that is, those types of people, although are your target, they have a clear understanding of what it's like to start here. So again, don't just think I'm not capable, it's not me, blah, blah, blah. Like, they tend to have an appreciation. There's a thing in the world called mentoring. It's funny how some of these people just give their time to people, but the only people they give their time to are the ones that have demonstrated the courage to ask and demonstrate the capability of growth. So that's a very long, you pull, as usual, first show of the year, you pulled a question out that I was not thinking about. But and it doesn't matter if you're doing $5, 5 million, 50 million, think, how can I go up? How can I help bigger? And see what happens.
You've just experienced the Lion's Edge. If this episode lit a fire, if you're ready to push past your current ceiling, there's more waiting for you. Want to see what it takes to become a member of the Lion? Visit jointhelion.com to discover how successful entrepreneurs become unstoppable forces. And make sure you never miss an episode by hitting subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. This isn't just content. This is your edge.
This show is powered by Media Leads. Tired of being overlooked in your industry? Learn how market gravity can transform you into the leader everyone's talking about by going to MediaLeadsCo.com.